Hey guys, welcome to the video. This is gonna be my very first video on the channel, so welcome. It's basically a tier list for what I personally feel is very strong for leveling in dungeons or while questing. It's gonna be mostly focused on damage and AoE. So yeah, if you only need something to reference, you can take a screenshot right now, or else I'll also put the picture in the description somewhere. So yeah, that's it. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, we have the S tier. This is where all the broken abilities are. These abilities will count for most of your damage, and they are very, very strong. You should aim to have as many of these as possible, and you should even consider buying some of these from the vendor if you don't have any of them already. They are very strong, and they are gonna be more than half of your damage if you get these working. They are very, very nice. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, first we're gonna start with what I consider the strongest tinker in the game. It's something called Opportunity, and what it basically does is every time you hit something that's stunned, you're gonna get 50% crit for 4 seconds. This is very insane, especially in this game mode, because we have so many things that stuns the enemies, meaning you have basically 100% uptime on this tinker, giving you a baseline 50% extra crit for one tinker. This is very, very good. One of the easy ways to get this to proc all the time if you don't have consistent stuns is using Incendiary Terror. It's in the B tier. I'm gonna highlight it hopefully somehow. And this thing is gonna AoE horrify the mobs very, very often. And this counts as a stun for some reason, meaning that it's gonna proc your Opportunity, giving you a lot of crit, and it's very, very nice. If you can, try and get this one. It's gonna be the best DPS gain you're gonna get from a single tinker. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. And here we have Thundering Orb. This is basically the strongest AoE meta that's in the game. Every time you pop this, you're going to be top DPS. If you're not top DPS, it's because the other guy is either broken or he's also using Thundering Orb. It is a very, very strong meta, and I highly recommend you use this one. The only exception is if you're using some of the support metas to make your teammates stronger, but who the hell wants to do that? You want to have big numbers, you want to be strong. So yeah, this is the meta you should aim for. If you can get this, you should definitely use it while leveling. It will increase your speed very, very much. Yeah, that's everything. Let's move on to the next one. And the next one, it's Slay. Slay is very, very nice. It's an execute, meaning every time a mob is below 10% health, you're basically going to one-shot it. It's very, very strong. The only caveat about this one is that it only works for one person. You can't have multiple people executing the same mob. It's just not going to work. It's going to die. So what are they going to execute? So hopefully you're the only one with this, and if you are, you have an opportunity to use it together with the next tinker, which is called Victory Fire. These two go insanely well together. So Slay executes them when they're below 10% health. Victory Fire does a massive AoE explosion when something dies, meaning you proc Slay, kill something, it explodes, dealing damage to other things, they get below 10% health, proccing Slay, proccing Victory Fire, and the cycle continues. This basically means once you kill one thing, the rest will start a chain explosion and everything will die. It is very satisfying to get these two things working together, and just cross your fingers no one else is using Slay, or else sadly it's useless. Okay, and last on the S tier list we have Meteor. Meteor is a very nice AoE tinker. It just works, I'm about to say. It does damage and it stuns and it procs often. You don't need any fancy things for it to work. It's just, do you have it? Put it on, because it's going to increase your damage quite a bit. And yeah, it's nice. So that's everything. And let's move on to the A tier. Okay, I might speed things up a bit now because we have a lot to go through. So yeah, let's start with Oblivion Orb and the A tier list. Oblivion Orb is very nice. It does a lot of damage, not as much as Thundering Orb. And it also gives a debuff to the mob so they take increased damage. Very nice. Have at least one of these on the team if you wanna do more damage as a whole. It's very, very nice. Next, we have Locus of Power, again a support meta. It's going to increase your and your party members' secondary stats by quite a bit, meaning that all the other people's metas are just going to pop off. It's very amazing. If you can do it, take the sacrifice, be the only one who has it. It's going to make the whole group do better. And then we have Explosive Barrage. Very, very nice single target DPS ability. It's just going to randomly shoot barrages at things when you hit them. Very nice, scales incredibly with crit, so late game or if you have a lot of crit, it's gonna do very well. Then we have Quick Strike, which is basically Wind Fury. Your melee abilities have a chance to hit 4 to 7 times instead of 1. This is amazing, it does a lot of extra damage, and if you have abilities that scales well with hitting more times, then you're gonna benefit massively from this one. And lastly we have our first Cogwheel. This is Dark Pact. It gives you let's see, 40% of your health as a shield by sacrificing 20% of it. It's very, very, very strong. It is the only cogwheel that actually benefits you in some non-mobility way. So yeah, if you're a tank, you should definitely take this. If you're not a tank but dying quite a bit, you should also take this because this is very strong. It could be a meta gem, to be honest. It's a 1 minute cooldown and it gives you a 40% of your health as a shield. I mean, that's insane. Yeah, that was all for the A tier. Let's move on to the B tier. Okay, and here we go with the B tier. First, we have Funeral Pyre. What it basically does is it gives you a bunch of your main stat, and at the cost of taking a tiny bit of your health as a cost. You're not gonna notice you losing health. It's very, very negligible. The stats, they're very nice. They're not gonna be Oblivion Orb nice or Thundering Orb nice, but they are nice. You should use this one until you get one of the other ones. And next comes Sunstrider's Fury. This one is amazing if you have some way to get a lot of crit, like Opportunity for an example. If you have this, then it's a S-tier Tinker. The only reason I put it down here is that it needs crit to work. If you don't have crit, this is close to useless. So, if you have crit, very strong. If not, just ignore this one. It's fine to have, but it's not amazing. Next come Incendiary Terror. This is the one we discussed earlier with Opportunity. This one is gonna CC the mobs very, very often. This is amazing. It also does a tiny bit of damage, but you're not gonna notice that. The CC alone is very nice. It's gonna proc Opportunity if you have that. And it's also just gonna interrupt mobs all the time, stop them from damaging you. Yeah, it's very, very good. Next is the second cogwheel in this list. This is 100% a personal preference. This is the movement cogwheel I prefer. It's called Soul Shape. If you haven't played Night Fae doing Shadowlands. Basically, it gives you a faster travel form that you can use Blink in. It is very, very good to get from one questing area to another, or from one mob pack in a dungeon to another. To my knowledge, it's the fastest way to get from one to B. But this is entirely preference, but I like this one. Maybe you do as well. And lastly in the B tier, we have Ankh. Ankh is basically cheat death. If you die, you don't die. You get another chance and a 2 minute cooldown on the buff. This is very nice if you try Rage for the first time and you don't know the mechanics, or if you find that you're dying more than you want to doing dungeons or leveling. As you all know, it's better to sacrifice a Tinker to live and DPS than to die and do no DPS. So yeah, that's everything. Let's go to the C tier. Okay, and last here in the C tier, I've put the things that are nice to have, but you're not gonna notice them too much in the DPS meters. First, we have Brilliance Aura. Basically, it gives you a baseline burst, which is very nice. And it also gives you and your team members faster resources regeneration, which is also nice. Good to have at least one of these on your team. Next, we have Lightning Rod. It gives you more crit, and as you may have noticed, crit is very, very nice for a lot of Tinkers. You should definitely use this if you have it. Yeah, it's great all around. Next up, we have Wind Weaver. It's a hard one to say. It basically gives you haste and a bit of mobility. It's okay. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but who doesn't like free stats? And Hailstorm, that's the one I used for my thumbnail. I don't know if you noticed. Hailstorm is a bit of a disappointment. It does not do a lot of damage. It does some, but if you compare it to something like Meteor, for example, which they're both Tinker slots, they should be comparable. But Meteor literally does like 10 times as much damage as Hailstorm. So maybe Meteor is OP or Hailstorm sucks, I don't know. But you can have it, but you should not prioritize getting this one at all. And last we have Brittle. Brittle is such a shame for me, because I really want Brittle to be OP. It sounded OP. Brittle is Corpse Explosion. And that always sounds very nice. But Slay and Victory Fire and Brittle does not work together for some reason. You can Slay and Brittle. You can Slay and Victory Fire, but you cannot use all three at the same time. At least they don't proc correctly. So I recommend using Slay and Victory Fire, because Victory Fire does way more damage than Brittle. Brittle, it absorbs damage and explodes at the end, and I think it doesn't get to absorb enough, because compared to Victory Fire, it's kind of tame. It doesn't do much. So if you don't have Victory Fire, you can use Brittle as a replacement for a while, but if you get Victory Fire, you should remove Brittle and use Victory Fire. And that should be very, very nice. So yeah, that's the end of my tier list. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I mean, yeah, this is my first real video on the channel. And I know it's not perfect. And you're free to come with some feedback in the comments. I'm trying to learn by doing. And hopefully I'll improve as I go. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to, a like and subscribe would help a lot. If you don't want to, that's fine. Check back again in a few weeks, month. Hopefully I'll get better as I go and it'll be worth subscribing to then. So yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching and yeah, bye.